Hi guys, my name is Talia Salahuddin, and this is a video about my journey to Islam. So I'm just going to go over first a little bit about my background and what my religion was before Islam. I was a Christian, or I would have considered myself, I would say, a Christian. I went to church for as long as I can remember, up until about maybe like 10th or 11th grade of high school. And I did grow up going to church every single Sunday. I had a specific church that I went to every single Sunday. Um, Occasionally, I would go to the Kingdom Hall with my grandmother on my dad's side of the family. She is a Jehovah's Witness. And occasionally, I would go to my mom's church, which was a little bit different than the church that I was used to going to, but regardless, Christian background. A little bit about my dad's side of the family. My dad did pass away when I was younger. I was probably maybe like 3, maybe 4 years old. I can't remember. But yeah, I was very young when he passed away. My dad's side of the family are Jehovah Witness, or at least my grandmother is Jehovah Witness. The rest of them don't really follow religion, at least not that I know of. And my grandmother is a Jehovah Witness currently. In the past, when my grandfather was alive and she was with my grandfather, they all converted to Islam. They all changed their names, which is why I have the name that I do. My name is Talia Salahuddin, and that is the name that I was born with, alhamdulillah. I did go through a lot this year. I went through a lot of anxiety and depression in the beginning of this year. I came into this year very overweight, at least in my eyes. I grew up very skinny. All my life I was skinny. I always used to wish that I gained all this weight and I was a little bit more curvier like all the other girls. And yeah, once I gained all that weight, I became very sad. I went to the gym. I wasn't eating right. The gym wasn't helping. I don't know. I was all over the place, honestly. I remember also back then, I used to drink a lot. I was a very heavy drinker. I mean, I was coming home with like boxes of wine, drinking every single day after work, drinking every single day during the weekend, going out with friends. I had a really bad alcoholic problem where I just couldn't stop. I could not stop drinking, especially if I went out with my friends. Once I had one drink, I could not stop drinking until I was just completely drunk and could not even function. So at the time, I did have a boyfriend. He was actually um, considering converting to Islam, taking his Shahada. After he told me that, I was very supportive of him. I was very happy that he was taking this step. We had long talks about it before he even took his Shahada. I even bought him his first Quran, alhamdulillah. And yeah, he took his Shahada during Ramadan of this year. Everybody was so nice. They gave him even a prayer rug for free. They hooked him up with everything that he needed as a new Muslim. We do live together. So after he took his Shahada, he came home and he had maybe like 4 Qurans. And I was like, oh yeah, can I have one of those, please? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. So he told me I could pick any one that I want. I ended up choosing the one that I ended up buying for him. So yeah, I guess that's the one that I bought for him ended up being my Quran. So yeah. I started reading my Quran. I loved it so far. He even sent me this video. I could figure out what the video's name is. I can't remember what the video's name is, but it talked a lot about the lineage and all the different prophets and a little bit about their stories and just how everything unfolded from the Islamic perspective. I realized the Islamic perspective was like a little bit different than Christianity, but I felt like it resonated with me a little bit more, and I believed more of the Islamic side than I felt the Christian side. So after I got the Quran, I started reading. I started educating myself a little bit more about Islam, especially because my partner, he's Muslim now, so I want to know a little bit more about his religion. In the beginning of April, I did find out that I was pregnant, um, and I ended up having a miscarriage maybe about a week later. I believe it was the same day of the eclipse that happened in April. It was a very tough time dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression at the beginning of the year. And now I just had a miscarriage, and I'm just like, this year can't get any worse. But in fact, it did. The month of June came, and in June, I found out I was pregnant again. I became very, very sick. And during this time, I was not reading my Quran or anything. I wasn't educating myself on any religion. I was just like basically bedridden. I was so sick, I just couldn't even function. I went in for my 10-week appointment. This was maybe about like the end of July, and they had told me that I had another miscarriage. This one was a silent miscarriage. Silent miscarriages are basically when the baby or the fetus dies in your womb and your body still thinks it's pregnant. So I still was sick. I still was dealing with all of my pregnancy symptoms and just had no clue for a whole week. I did have to get a surgery. I had to get something called a procedure called a D&C, and yeah, that was a very tough time for me. I honestly I cried a lot. I'm not as emotional about it anymore, but during that time, I was very hurt. We were just getting ready to tell our family. I was gonna get my blood drawn to find out the gender. It was a lot. And my now husband came with me to the hospital. It was a women's hospital. I went in and I got my surgery done, and I was ready to just kind of move on. It was very hard for me to move on after everything that happened with the second miscarriage. And honestly, I just knew that I couldn't get through this by myself. I just could not get through it on my own. I would just cry to God, honestly. Like, my husband would be there for me in the middle of the night. I would wake up, honestly, just crying, just randomly just crying. Um, I was very emotional at the time. I'm getting a little bit emotional talking about this right now. But yeah, it was a very tough time for both of us. And I just knew I couldn't get through this on my own. There was just so much that was happening from the beginning of this year to then, the middle of this year, and I couldn't deal with it anymore, honestly. After long days of being emotional and just kind of sitting in front of the TV all day and watching miscarriage videos to see if there's anybody else out there that's going through the same thing as me, I felt a little bit more comforted. I do remember in the beginning of August thinking that I should pick up my Quran again and continue to keep reading. I kind of just picked up where I left off in April, and I started looking more into the Islamic prayer because I just wanted to know more. I wanted to learn more, and honestly, I just wanted to learn how to pray. I remember before I even took my Shahada, I had learned like half my prayer. Alhamdulillah. It was very helpful because when I took my Shahada, I only had half of it left to learn. I started learning my prayer, which was a big thing for me. I was very happy. It was something I was very nervous about because it is in another language. My native language is English, and I was a little bit nervous about learning Arabic. Alhamdulillah, I prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and asked Him to make it easier, asked Him to help my brain just, be a sponge and just absorb as much as I can. August 10th, 2024, I did take my Shahada. I went to my local mosque, which is the same mosque my now husband had went to take his Shahada as well. Here I am 4 months later. I believe to the day, I believe today is August 10th. Hold on. So it is exactly 4 months today. Thank you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guiding me to the truth. I couldn't be happier. I felt the shift in my life completely. My anxiety had went down tremendously. My depression is gone. Like, I'm not sitting at home depressed. I'm not thinking about the bad things that happened to me this year. I'm not dwelling on them. I just kind of moved on in my life, and Islam became the center of my life and what I focus on every single day. Thank you for watching, guys. If you guys want me to make a video about my first 4 months of being a Muslim, just let me know. I did come up on my 4 months as of today. I did say that in the video already. But yeah, if you guys want me to make that video, just drop a comment down below and I can get that up for you guys. But yeah, thank you guys. Bye.